Mind and self-awareness.
You were explaining what it does with the blue pearl. I don't know.
Um, uh, Different than self-awareness. I would say eventually it turns into more self-awareness. It depends on what stage the activation of the blue pearl is at. Just because you stimulate it doesn't mean all of a sudden you have, self-awareness. At first there's just little puffs of light that come out, and then eventually more, and then eventually more. At some point, there is a level or degree of self-awareness, but you're really shifting from that place of, mm, like it's easiest to see it in healing. You're shifting from the state where you're looking at everything from the point of view of symptoms, and you're going more to the state of the body that's producing the symptoms. Because even the idea of treating systems is still not touching the state. Like it's getting closer, but it's still not quite there. And so at some point, it's more about the shift from like that outer awareness more to that inner awareness. That, how they talk about it, like the inner world and the outer world. You know, at some point, when you start touching that inner world, that's when you have self awareness. Until then, it's in process. So the technique or the idea or the mystical or spiritual like anatomy and mechanics, they're there, but until we not just until we start playing with them, but until you start playing with them and getting kind of good at it, does it start to go a little bit deeper. So when you touch that what we're calling vibrational state, when you reach that and start touching that and being able to shift that, that starts to become self-awareness. So mm, the the difference being just at what state or level or degree is that blue pearl stimulated. You know, the more that you touch the inner world, the more that gets stimulated. So you are still trying to do it from the outside in, but at some point it reverses. It's like the I am, right? So when you go, I am that I am, I am that I am, I am that I am, so what you're saying is, so the higher soul invests a piece of itself as the incarnated soul, right? So the incarnated soul anchors about 12 inches above the head. So when you go, I am that I am, you're saying the little I am, the incarnated soul is going, I am one with that I am, the higher soul, right? But when we start to touch that inner self, that inner state, it flips. It starts to go, the higher soul starts to say, I am that I am, right? And so at that point, the rules change, the rules flipped. And it's the whole idea behind alchemy. When we're in that first phase where the little I am going, I am that I am, when we start to do something negative or something wrong, or we're in harm's way, or we've made a bad choice, the soul will withdraw a little bit to protect itself. So it withdraws, and whatever happens doesn't impact the incarnated soul as much because the soul has withdrawn, right? So, we start identifying, saying negative things and, you know, whatever it might be. The soul withdraws, right? But at some point, when you start touching that inner state and you start shifting that inner state, that flips and it's the higher soul going, I am that I am, the one down below, right? So then if we start doing things in a negative way or making bad choices or we're in harm's way, instead of the soul withdrawing, the soul sends down more energy, right? It protects the incarnated soul by increasing connection. So the idea of when you're doing alchemy, at some point you reach this place where your body starts transmuting the negative things that are projected at you. Somebody projects negativity to you, not only does it not harm you, it accelerates your growth, right? Because the soul keeps bringing down more soul energy to protect it, right? So you see in different traditions, the Buddhists, like how they'll go sit on a pile of bones, or they'll hold bones in their ceremony to do the things that they do. It's because it brings down a tremendous amount of soul energy once you've touched that state. So things that would be degenerative to some people all of a sudden become regenerative to a person that has touched that inner state.